colleague, Senator Melendez, stated, if she can see it, why can't we? Is it precisely for legislators to hold a certain type of voters together? You see how this is called gerrymandering, not democracy. Therefore, I vote against this bill. Redistricting needs to happen now. We cannot wait any longer with our hands crossed, while others, unfortunately, cannot indulge in their fair piece of cake. Thank you.
Senator Lucas, District 28.
Fellow Senators, Democrats and Republicans, the intention of MS-15 lies within the needs of my district. However, I am voting against this bill. My highly diverse population has an average income of only slightly over $23,000. I believe it is critical that these needs of my district will be met. We need to be highly represented so that our needs will be seen and shown and then heard. So as a district, we may flourish. Higher education, viable housing, assistance for single parents, and more sources of public transportation are among some of the areas of interest for my district. The MS-15 bill simply takes too long to be put into effect. However, if a similar kind of bill were to be passed through the legislature, it can be effective immediately. Change needs to be now. I vote nay.
Senator Ryan, District 35.
The defeat of this bill is extremely significant to the future of this great state. Gerrymandering has been going on for an extended amount of time, and it has taken over. The composition of the state legislature has a direct impact on health, care, education, and transportation. Whatever is done will have an immense influence on all these three. A 10-year interval is what this bill is proposing. Anything can occur in this duration of time. The numbers of the census would and could change. I do believe that legislature should deal with redistricting now to even the playing field and bring out the change that New Yorkers have always wanted. There's a popular phrase, senators, that says, if something can be done today, why wait till tomorrow? Now is the time to take action. Therefore, I vote nay.
Senator Herrera, District 45.
My fellow senators, I vote yay for MS-15. Let us be consistent on what we want for the people, unlike Minority Speaker Christian Sanchez, whom is against the governor's bill, yet wants constitutional amendment, but votes nay. Let us stay consistent. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's get down to the chase. Because all I've heard here for the last hour is double talk, legal jargon, constitutional rhetoric, and smokescreens. We are not putting forth two bills as the Republicans would have you believe. Senator Suazo of District 42 and Senator Moreno of District 52, I'm calling you out. We are simply stating that this bill, the MS-15 bill that we have before us, is not good enough and does not befit the people of New York State, my district, and every district here. So Senator Foster, you're asking me to slow down. I'm asking you to step up to the plate and vote no on this bill.
Senator Mendez, District 44. My fellow senators, I'm here today to vote yes on Bill MS-15 and also to urge my colleagues to do the right thing by also voting yes. This bill is the best way to fix the problem of unfair redistricting. My colleagues on the Democratic side are divided among themselves with two proposals, one from Governor Cuomo and one from the Assembly, but neither proposal fixes the problem. Instead, it continues the status quo of unfair redistricting. The Democrats had a chance to bring forth a proposal in 2008 when they controlled the Senate, but failed to do so. Instead, they want to provide an unfair rush job proposal which doesn't fix the problem. And we all know that haste makes waste. So the only way to permanently fix the problem is to amend New York's Constitution. This bill will provide a fair and unbiased solution and will better represent disadvantaged minority groups. So I once again ask you, my fellow senators, do the right thing for the people of New York and vote yes on Bill MS 15.
Good afternoon, honorable senators. I'd like to call out Senator Gutierrez. I'd like to tell her that the pledge was agreed upon under constitutional amendments. Two parties, not one, preserves a healthy political battle that without contradicts democracy. We are willing to work in conjunction with the opponent. Giving Governor Andrew Cuomo legislative power will diminish our essential foundation, the New York State Constitution. This gives tremendous uncertainty to our checks and balances. A purely democratic state will enslave any political views projected by our New York State voters. The Legislative Independent Committee for Redistricting does not innovate a procedure already set as partisan unbiased. They are not considering the future of the people and most of all themselves. A short-term proposal shows no substantial evidence that a legislative independent committee will actually be independent. What's that smell? I think I smell an interest group. They are drunk with notions of power, and we, the Republicans, through the Constitution, will keep them on check. So therefore, I vote yea for MS 15.
Fellow senators, it's a shame that the Democratic Party continues with this claim about time. Have they spoken about what happens if it doesn't go through the Senate, the Assembly, and if it gets vetoed? It goes to the courts, as we all know this. Will it still be on time? We all know the answer. It's no. So why is this claim about time even being brought up? Why is the Democratic Party so eager to mislead us if they know the answer? It's truly a shame that they can stand as a whole with this claim, but still have two bills that contradict themselves. We here stand as a whole, and we could assure you that this bill could be debated, and we could still have more time to put the proper action that will ensure proper representation for our constituents. That's why I vote yea.
We have waited too long. It's time to create a nonpartisan registration commission. The legislative district chose their representatives and not vice versa. New York State residents have the right to a fair redistricting process legislation, which is not favors any particular party, which create districts that are compatible geographical and culturally. This is not the case now. The districts appear to have been divided in a really real ways. I have requested a bill that will create a commissions, which will be fair and will help the legislative and congressional elections of the state. The bill, as 660 will also require, after every new session, the boundaries are withdrawn if the demographics have changed. I want you to realize that this is only common sense and we need more of that here in Albany. Make your representative in every legislative district aware that commit to citizens and needed to draw up new district boundaries to submit for consideration. Here I am for voting yes.
Good afternoon, honorable senators. The passage of this bill is vitally important to the future of this great state because it will ensure that the people of New York will once again gain trust and confidence in the promises of elected officials. On that note, I vote in favor of the passage of this bill. Districts were never, and I repeat, never meant to be used in favor of any political party, incumbent legislator, or other groups. Fellow Democrats, honestly, let us not forget who were the first to demonstrate gerrymandering in the great state of New York. Let us not also forget not to act so innocent as Honorable Senator Melendez has in the accusation of gerrymandering in the current times. You are not innocent. You are as well guilty of the act of gerrymandering. The fundamental principle of having representatives is for them to represent their given, not selected constituents. For far too long, this method of redistricting has disenfranchised voters. You asked for change, correct? Well, change will come, but the only method is to amend the Constitution. Let us not forget, honorable senators, that we are selected by the people, for the people. Therefore, we must not choose the people in which we represent. If you are a leader, then lead without choosing your constituents based on self-interest. That is all for today.
Good afternoon, fellow senators. I need to remind you all that yesterday is history, tomorrow is a mystery, and today is a gift. That is why it is called the present. We should not be focusing on who signed a pledge or who wasn't supportive of a bill. Instead, today is the day we need to come together for the better of our state and our people. We need redistricting reform, and we need to act now. Bill MS-15 will not allow us to display our commitment to redistricting reform. Instead, I question whose priority was taken into consideration when this bill was drafted. Therefore, I vote nay to MS-15.
Senator Nieves, District 1.
Good afternoon, fellow senators. It is important and necessary to make MS-15 a law granted in the New York State Constitution. The Constitution was created to make a strong central government and keep the people, known as our constituents, away from dictatorship. Governor Cuomo stated that the bill being addressed today will be vetoed more than once if it is not to his liking. This is a clear desperation for the minority to get their way and want in redistricting. Putting politics aside, we must understand our role and our responsibility. Were we not elected by the people to serve the people? Is it not in their best interest that the independent commission is a part of the Constitution to guarantee that those appointed to this position will have regulations to follow and that their opinions will not be biased? Both parties have agreed that the independent commission should take place. We are giving you the opportunity to vote on a bill so great and heavily weighted. If you ask why you should vote on this bill and state yes, it is simply because we want to keep our constituents in mind. And we understand that we should not pick our voters, but have them pick us. The Constitution guarantees stability, and it is the strongest foundation in which our government follows. Vote for MS-15, vote for MS-15, or get Dictator Cuomo to control and decide all government. Do you want another Caesar running the country? First step, New York. Next step, United States. Vote yay for MS-15. Thank you.
My fellow senators, let me remind you, not only does this bill neglect the people of the 2010 census, but passing this bill offers no guarantee to amend the Constitution and create a bipartisan commission. District 36 votes nay for this bill.
Senator Pichardo, District 23.
My esteemed colleagues, I'm voting nay on this bill. This bill poses more questions than answers. I'm in favor of an independent commission, of a nonpartisan commission, but we all say we want to represent the state of New York. The state of New York is very diverse. How can we have 5 people, just 5 people, redraw the lines? I don't see how 5 people can represent the diversity of the state. That is why I'm voting nay for this bill.
Senator Williams, District 51.
I bring this to the attention of all senators present. November 1st, 2010, the total number of Republican voters was 70,784, compared to Democrats, 49,894. Now, you may think that a number of Democrats is sufficiently smaller, but consider this. The number of inactive voters on the Republican side was 5,246, compared to Democrats, 5,740. That's 494 people worth of a difference. What's my point? Well, the number of Republicans registered to vote was higher. If more Democrats had the initiative to come out and vote, I myself could have been challenged. I vote yay for this bill.
Senator Ramos, I vote yea on behalf of my constituents. I believe that this is in the best interest. I've been hearing a lot of you guys say that you want change. MS-15 is change. Thank you.
Senator Reyes, District 29.
Good afternoon, honorable senators. My name is Johnny Reyes. I represent District 29. I would like to say that I disagreed with my distinguished colleague who has just spoken. I feel that the bill is unconstitutional. We don't choose the people choose us. I believe that we are in this chamber to serve the people. Therefore, I vote nay. Thank you.
Senator Rodriguez, District 55.
Thank you. Buenos dias. Our 31st President Dwight D. Eisenhower said, every step we take towards making the state the caretaker of our lives, that much we move toward making the state our master. Our party is not here today to imperialize comfortable living, but to provide what is the best interest for the people and by the people. We are all here today demanding trust between the governor and the rest of the legislature. This bill does not reflect that trust. I argue that the people have elected the legislators and the legislature ought to be allowed to perform their constitutional duty for the people. This governor is attempting to restrict the constitutional right of the legislature. Who are we to take these freedoms that echo in the people's voice, along with their political power at the polls as they have chosen their representation in this great state of ours? If an independent commission is the right answer, then it should be a constitutional answer, not the will of the government. On that note, I vote yea.
Good afternoon, honorable senators. As a senator of District 10, I have made a promise to have ears that listen sincerely and a voice that speaks truthfully to the needs of my constituents. The time that MS-15 will take to satisfy these needs and fill these resources that are lacking is too long. My opposition says change does not happen overnight. But when you have the opportunity for effective change sooner than later, which will you choose? I choose sooner, and that is why I'm voting nay to this bill.
Senator Russo, District 41.
Good afternoon. Districts should be drawn with transparency and fairness to the voters. It is essential as well as fundamental that we explore and consider various possibilities in which redistricting is achieved without politicizing the process. In addition, measures presented merit serious consideration to determine which proposal will best ensure that redistricting is achieved in a fair and reasonable manner. Slow and steady wins the race. Therefore, with quality and time, there will be an elimination of various confounding variables such as misrepresentation of the people. This also giving a more accurate standard deviation of district populations. Therefore, our outcome will be more successful as well. And at this time, I vote yes.
Senator Sierra, District 8.
Good afternoon, fellow senators. My name is Edgar Sierra, and I represent District 8. We are here to discuss an important issue that will affect all constituents of New York State, MS-15. I'm here to tell you that we should keep redistricting how it is. Let us recall that the Democratic Party had the majority for 2 years. And what did they accomplish? Nothing. They failed to gain any support for an independent redistricting commission. And on the other hand, they are reckless and they're trying to organize an independent commission to deal with this issue while members of their own party, their own assembly side, have refused to face these problems at all. They are disorganized, and this shows lack of weakness, in which they cannot decide. Take a look at us, Republicans. We stand united under one bill. We must remember that we represent the people who elect us, and we have far more pressing issues, such as education, healthcare, and creating jobs for the people of New York. That's why I vote yay for MS-15. Thank you.
Senator Saw, District 21.
Thank you, Chair. I'm strongly against this bill, because this bill is a clear betrayal of the trust the people place in us. We are being told by Senate Republicans today that we should not rush into legislative redistricting reforms. But yet, all 32 of you, I repeat, all 32 of you signed the New York Uprising Pledge, which called for fair legislative redistricting reforms now. New Yorkers in this chamber, look, your representatives are betraying you. I will not betray my constituents, and I will definitely not betray the people of New York. Listen to the voices of the oppressed minorities who happen to be living in these polarized districts because of the lines we happen to draw. I vote no to this bill, and I ask each and every one of us here to do the same. I vote no.
seem to misunderstand the law of the land. Our government does not follow the principles of political bickering, but of the principles of the Constitution. The Democrats guarantee a speedy reform, but fail to mention how their proposal will be a circus act between the Senate and the governor, juggling the bill between the governor and Senate, and it could ultimately fall in the hands of the courts, taking the democratic process from the equation. The Constitution rules the land, not your baseless rhetoric, Senator Melendez. I vote yea for good government.
Fellow senators, I am in favor of the MS-15 bill. My colleagues from across the line are portraying redistricting as an unfair, urgent matter that must be changed immediately, when in reality, the system in place is not as damaged as they want to portray it. For example, let me speak about my own district. District 7 is in the shape of a square. This is contrary to what Senator Melendez has stated. Not only that, but she has only given 3 examples. Out of the 62, what about the other 59? Are you so sure? Also, I'd like to add, in my district, it's a registered Democratic majority, yet I, a Republican, was elected. This shows that in an area where Republicans and Democrats coexist, and there's a slight registered Democratic majority, there are those who vote and whose opinion can side with my own. The creation of district lines is a time-consuming and meticulous process that must show the perspectives of both parties, despite the size of either. So I cannot agree with the Democrats and their hot-headed foolishness and their whims on a rapid construction of a redistricting system. We are willing to work with you, but you are not willing to work with us. There are some discrepancies within what currently exists, but it's apparent that you're not taking the time to look at it. Relax, calm yourselves. We must carefully plan this out and add it permanently to the Constitution. We do not want to appear foolish because we rushed into it, and we do not want to create a temporary alternative. Please, vote no, like I am. Thank you.
Senator, would you comment on the statement?
Fellow members of the Senate, I, Senator Elise Underwood of the 59th District of New York State, would like to say that I do agree that the reform of the redistricting process is necessary. I believe that they need to be aligned as best as possible with local boundaries and community character, but I cannot and will not be in favor of the Democratic bill. Their bill is unconstitutional in that it takes away the power from the people itself by placing the final decision in executive hands. The Republican bill, MS-15, brings forth an independent commission that is fair and equal to both parties. And for this reason, I vote yea for the amendment of the bill, MS-15.
Senator Valdez, District 47.
Senator Valdez, representing District 57. The Democrats make a valid point. Why wait 10 years to make change? However, I feel as though they do not understand that their proposed idea goes against the Constitution. It states in the United States Constitution that the legislature is responsible for restructuring the boundaries of state districts. If we allow a commission to do this, we are allowing them to take the rights of the voting members of our districts away from them. Furthermore, we cannot change the Constitution without going through the amendment process. The big focus of my campaign was that I was tired of big government stepping in and doing what they wanted. It was that core value that won my re-election for my last 2 terms. The people have spoken, and they're saying no to big government and the impediment of their constitutional rights. Also, let me remind you that every single one of us was voted into office, and we have a duty to uphold the will of the people and the Constitution. If the governor's bill is passed, how are we going to tell the individuals in our district that we're doing what's best for them and what the Constitution calls upon us to do? How are we going to make a radical decision such as the Democrats propose and destroy everything we stand for? Democrats such as Senator Melendez are not thinking logically. When we voted into office, we swore to uphold the rules of the Constitution and represent our people in the proper way. Because of this, I vote yea.
Senator Veras, District 48.
The governor must not appoint a commission to redistrict New York State. The commission is not as powerful as I am in my district, and it is my constitutional right to participate and redistricting. This right can only be rescinded through an amendment of the Constitution. Cuomo's bill is not for the people, and it is not constitutional. These are issues of the Constitution. We are not just talking about lines on a map. I vote yea in favor of the MS.
Honorable Senators, it is with respect and honor I refer to you today on an issue that has cultivated the people of our great state, and that is the power hereby given to us by our Constitution to redraw the districts of our state. It is a firm belief that I hold that this issue needs to be addressed following with high respect the fundamentals of our Constitution. The bill that the Democrats want to pass goes beyond the limits of our government and our democracy. We shall not allow for a bill to pass like the one they're proposing. Democracy takes time. We need to hear all sides before we make such a quick change as the Democratic bill proposes. We need to conserve the essential right that our constituents expect of us. We have a choice today. We can abide by the Constitution. We can do what's right. Pass MS 15. I vote yea.
Senator Watson, District 12.
I've gotten the chance to stand here and listen to most of you make your vote. And one realization has come to me, and that is that most of you, with all due respect to you who vote yea, are confused. And I'll tell you why. You're confused because you seem to be listening to a totally different debate than the one that I and my Democratic constituents are listening to. Cuomo's bill has not been supported by one Democratic senator in this room. So I ask you today to not think about Cuomo's bill. We disagree with it as well. That is why the bill that I have drafted is the one that our caucus chose to support. Also, the confusion doesn't stop there. Many of you have chosen to vote yea in favor of MS 15, but yet you back that up by saying, well, the bill that we were going to propose is unconstitutional, because in order to use an independent redistricting council, it is against the fundamentals of our Constitution. Yet that is exactly what your bill wants to do in the next 10 years. Does that make any sense? No, it seems contradictory. The whole ideal of MS 15 is contradictory. So I ask you here today to please vote nay on MS 15. Thank you.
Senator Neal, District 26.
The issue that we are seeing here today is not about a bill or any other bill that will be put on the floor, but it is about the very foundation of democracy. I represent District 26, a working party, and I strongly believe in equal representation. The current system of allowing incumbents to choose their own district for retaining power is against the very democratic virtue of what our country stands for. MS 15 is not clear, unfair, and is not even the icing of the solution of our current broken system. I emphasize, broken. That is why we are here today. Change must happen now, with the result of the current census that is right in front of all of us. I remind you, we represent the people as much as they represent us. And I quote, from our 16th president, President Lincoln. We the people, for the people, by the people, I vote no.
Senator Sanchez Navarez, District 13. District 19.
I just spent an hour sitting here trying to figure out what bill we are debating about.
Thank you.
I believe we were talking about MS-15, not S-2453. I don't think that we came here to debate about the Cuomo bill. Neither do we support the Cuomo bill. And as the minority leader, I'm here to answer your call. You say that we do not have the constitutional amendment in our mind. That is incorrect. As you heard from my colleagues, we have an utmost agenda to do this. You say that the last 2 years, we did not have the time to do this. That may be right, but I will tell you why we didn't have time to do this. When we gained power, we had time to prioritize what New York City and our districts need. Why do you think that there is a Democratic governor and a Democratic majority of the Assembly? It is because it is overwhelmingly saying that this state is Democratic, not Republican. Why is that not demonstrated here in the upper house of legislation? Why? Because of this gerrymandering that has been going on for 30 years by the Republicans. We want change now. And this is what we're here for. But again, you push the can down the road. Again, you give more time for yourself to make up another bill and say, hey, wait, let's push this can even further. What assurance do you give us that you will make this happen if it doesn't happen now? And that's why I strongly believe that this bill should not pass for what's right for the